All right, I'd like to welcome my guest, Ryan Trificana. Did I say that right?
Trificana,
Trificana. I never get it right. I've
but
known you for a while now, and I can't get your
but
right last name right.
I've heard way worse.
Okay,
So
well,
kudos.
I was fairly close. Um, so I would like to welcome Ryan. He is the owner of GenFit in Denver, and we're going to talk today about his gym, who it's perfect for, why you might be interested, and some of the things that he's doing different than any other gym in Denver. And I've known Ryan now for a while, and I can't say enough about the guy. And I think it's really common. Like a lot of people know you, Ryan. Like I know a lot of people in the fitness industry, and I've been talking about something, and like you would come up somehow, and I was like, "How do you know him?" And they're like, "Oh, I love Ryan. But, he's been doing this." And I think one of the things that I've noticed is everybody loves you, man.
Whoa.
Like you are just everybody has a outpouring positive. They just can't say nothing, or all they can say is nice things about you, and I think that says a lot about you, and I'm sure everybody in your gym thinks so as well.
I didn't know that many people thought so highly of me. That's really really cool. Thank you. Like I'm blushing.
Yeah, I think I've talked to three or four gym owners now, and somehow you
No
came up in
shit.
the
Well,
conversation. I think some of it was we were talking about some of the videos we were shooting and things like that.
cool.
But yeah, you just have a very positive outlook on life, and I think that spills over, and I'm sure it does. Your energy and everything into your gym as well. But let's get started. Let's tell us a little bit about you and how you got into fitness, and then give us the story of GenFit as well.
Oh geez, the origin story. Oddly enough, the way I got into fitness is tied to GenFit. So about 15 years ago, I was a bartender, full-time bartender. Was definitely living like that late night bartender lifestyle. Wasn't really the healthiest time in my life. So I decided to kind of like change things up a little bit. And my boss actually recommended this fitness boot camp called Genesis Fitness. He said it's a 5-week program. You show up every day, Monday through Friday. And it basically, he said it was a really great way to like kickstart your fitness. So I get in there and it was different workout every day, super intense, super crazy. I'd never seen anything like it. And I was hooked. So I basically was doing those boot camps like back to back to back to back for the better part of a year. And that's kind of like how I got really like hooked into fitness. Um, and then I loved the boot camp so much that one of the coaches asked if I wanted to actually start teaching them. So I went from being a devout student of Genesis Fitness at the time to becoming a coach for them. And that's how I started getting into actually like coaching and really like embodying like that fitness lifestyle.
It's great. Were
Yeah.
you always pretty fit to begin with, like while you're
No,
in the
not at
bartending?
all, dude.
Okay.
Not at all. No, I was overweight most of my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a little bit of self transformation there as well.
Yeah, man. I was just like, I was tired of like, like sleeping until 11, like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock the next day, like kicking off hangovers. Like I didn't have anything that would get me out of bed. Like it was weird. I decided to stop drinking for a month. And that was the time my boss told me, hey man, we're doing this boot camp thing. Like my husband and I love it. You should do it with us. And it was like a switch flipped. Like all of a sudden I had something to look forward to get up the next day. So it would start making me make better choices with like, my habits the night before. So it was like a really quick 180, like from going from that like late night party lifestyle that most bartenders that I knew to like this guy that actually started caring about his body and his health.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Nice. And
Yeah.
so since you started with the boot camps and then you kind of took over GenFit from there.
Yeah, so the history of Genesis, it goes back 15 years. This guy founded it, and it was like the first premier fitness boot camps in Denver. This concept of signing up a group of people for a 6-week program, and they all go through it together, kind of like like a boot camp, like a kind of
Hmm.
military-esque type of experience. And the majority of the instructors were actually from military backgrounds.
Oh.
So it was Genesis for a while. The original owner ended up going out of business or like calling it or whatever. And the more loyal members in his community and friends of his actually banded together and bought the existing gym from him with like all the clients and the equipment, and they rebranded it as GenFit.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, so GenFit actually goes back like 15 years by this point.
Yeah.
Its origin story. Like some of our current members were actually members at Genesis Fitness under the old concept. So it got bought, rebranded as GenFit. I got asked to be brought on as a coach. Down the line, I became like a lead trainer or like a manager. And then I eventually was in a position to buy GenFit and own it.
Great. And so, what changes have you made since you have been officially head honcho?
Uh, the biggest, man, is probably like our approach to fitness, the program itself. Back in the day, Genesis was hardcore fitness boot camps. It was just day after day of high intensity workouts without really
Hmm.
much thought to recovery, movement quality, mobility, like the things that I value
Hmm.
now.
Sure.
One of the biggest changes that I've made to our concept is prioritizing movement quality, longevity, sustainability, while still providing a program that builds robust fitness.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was, that was one of the ways that I found you is I'd been following you on Instagram for a while, and I kept being like, oh, I really like what this guy's putting out there, and especially not just the videos, but kind of the meaning behind them, right? The
Yeah.
what it was all about. And I was like, I really agree with this. I need to get in touch with this guy, and of course, it was 10 months later that I finally did.
Yeah, that happens to
Um,
me all the time. It's like, oh, I love that, and then like I'll just like put it off in the back of my
yeah,
brain. I'll start leaving post-its, writing it on my hand, like sending text reminders to myself. It takes a while.
yeah. But eventually we got in touch, and yeah, I
Good.
think
Yeah.
I've really liked that about your approach of it's more the quality of the movement, and you really focus on the mobility, the range of motion, and having that control throughout all that. And some of that, so tell me a little bit, because I know you do a lot of the animal movements, the GMB
Yeah.
fitness stuff. So tell us a little bit about that.
I mean, I was in the same boat as a lot. Like so a little bit of backstory about that. My roots kind of start in like that intense fitness boot camp style. Then it went to CrossFit. So it was all about like intensity and high repetitions and not necessarily moving well. Like I saw my people moving like shit. I realized I was moving like shit and just broken all the time. And I was tired of it. And it actually culminated in an injury. So I was doing CrossFit, and this is not to slander CrossFit. I just happened to be doing like a CrossFit workout, going for a heavy lift, and I busted my wrist. I caught the lift the wrong way, and that like sidelined me. Um,
Hmm.
one of the worst injuries I've ever had, and I couldn't do the stuff I love doing in the gym anymore, the intense workouts. So to rehabilitate myself, I stepped away from CrossFit and intense workouts, and I started focusing in more on body weight training. And the therapist I had recommended a book called Convict Conditioning by Paul Wade, I think Coach Paul Wade. And what it was these like slow tempoed movements at like the lowest like the lowest progressions to rebuild your joint integrity and get like healthy blood flow back
Hmm.
into your joints. And it was perfect for what I needed because I could not do anything anymore. Like
Sure.
I went from being super fit and capable to like doing push-ups against a wall or like standing up and doing ring rows like this. It was really humbling and kind of going back to like square one. But that concept or that approach, the world of bodyweight training and calisthenics, eventually got me to look into the work of GMB Fitness, which is a online bodyweight program that has great values and great teachers and a great mindset. And then eventually to Ido Portal's work. And these two particular companies are known, or these two particular organizations are known for a lot of like crawling around on the ground, what they call animal movement patterns or locomotion. That's not all they do, but like the connecting theme is they place emphasis on your body having options of moving with quality, of prioritizing mechanics and integrity and quality of movement versus intensity. So that's kind of where the turning point for me was. And when I started paying attention to more uh, teachers and movement specialists that touted that like quality first, create
Hmm.
options for your body. Yeah.
And as you've put that into your gym, what changes have you noticed in the people that go to GenFit?
I noticed like when I think back to what was going on before that, a lot more injuries and a lot more like shitty movement patterns, like overuse injuries, less less range. Now I notice our people can like, access more positions. They could squat nice and deep without pain. They're more coordinated. They move through ranges without like aches and tightness and stiffness. If they do have injuries, we know to customize the movements for them so they can do something that will benefit them more in the gym while we help them rehabilitate the
Hmm.
injury. So they train a lot smarter. They move a lot better now. That's one of the biggest things I notice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've talked about this, but I did GMB just for a short period of time and started noticing I could move in different ways almost immediately. 2 weeks in, I was like, "Huh, I didn't know I couldn't do that."
Yeah.
And then 4 weeks later, it's like, I don't have, I can pick things up off the ground now with and not have to bend my knees, or I don't have to go to my back. I have the flexibility, and I can do an inchworm and push myself all the way up to standing. I could never do that before, and so I really like your approach because I think they focus on quality of motion. I think you focus on quality of motion with strength, right? So
Yeah.
having that strength throughout that, and like moving great is great, but people like to lift weights too. They like to get a great workout, and I think you really try to combine all of those things really well.
Yeah, man. Like, I mean, that's a great way to frame it. And I like the way that you said that. It is important for people to come into the gym and feel like they're accomplishing something too. They want to leave there feeling like they got something done. They want to feel sweaty, like they, got a good session in. So we can't just do an hour of crawling around and like, mobility. You got to throw some weight. You don't have to, but I like to, man, because that's how I like to train. And I think it's beneficial. I think there's a good balance to be struck with lifting some weights, pushing yourself, and also still doing some good stuff for your body.
What is some of the pushback that you've had from new people who didn't know what to expect and came into GenFit and they're like, "What is this?"
The barefoot thing, man, that we tell them to take their shoes off. Yeah, that's probably one of the biggest ones. I get like a lot of what the fuck looks. Can I say fuck? I should have asked. Okay.
Too late
Yeah.
now.
Cool. All right. So WTF looks when they come in and they see a sign that says take off your shoes and they're like, this is a barefoot place. That's probably one of the biggest ones.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And why do you make people go barefoot?
The short answer is shoes can be kind of a limiting factor in foot health. They tend to do a lot of the work that your feet should be doing for you, like stabilization, strength, balance, sensitivity with striking the ground. So it's low hanging fruit for us to tell people to take their shoes off when they move within our walls, like within an hour session, because it's going to build stronger, uh, build stronger foundations for their bodies. Like we give your feet a chance to stabilize and strengthen and, contact surfaces the way they were meant to. It's ultimately going to build a better foundation for your body. So for us, it's just, shoes, like going shoeless when you move is better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I'm curious, do you do any sort of balance testing? Because one thing that we see frequently in our clinic is people don't push through their big toes anymore because of the shape of shoes, because of bad habits, because of past injuries, and you get a lot of balance from your big toe.
Mhm.
Do you do any sort of balance testing?
Not like how you're
Not
framing it, like
specifically.
not a specific test or assessment, but sometimes I've had my class start out just by balancing on one foot and then just letting them stand there and seeing like how much they
Yeah.
start like wobbling. And then again, you do that barefoot, you notice a big difference than when you might have the stability or the
Yeah.
support of your shoes.
Well, I mean, I could only see like pretty vast and pretty quick improvements as people got out of their shoes, got used to using those toes and everything. And I would bet money if you tested a month one or day one versus the end of month one, if you had some sort of balance test, I would almost guarantee they would improve. And there's other ways you could also measure it with like skaters, right? Like rotational type bending motions that I think that I would almost guarantee those would improve.
I I have a lot of my older clients do that kind of stuff. A lot of single leg stability, skaters, curtsy squats, like rotation imbalance. I down the road. I mean, we're currently working on like a intake or assessment kind of protocol that we want to have all of our people do on a semi-regular basis or for newbies that come in, just so we can kind of get an idea of their baseline. So we
Hmm.
have a better sense of what to prescribe to them. And balance would be amongst that, because I agree it's super important. I think it's overlooked in a lot of fitness programs, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Um, so let's ask this. So who should come to GenFit and why should they pick you over another gym?
So people that come to let me backtrack. You should come to GenFit if you care more about the quality of movement, like your well-being, like moving well and doing it for a long time. If you want to come in and get an ass kicking day after day, that's not really what we offer. You will find challenging scenarios in our workouts, but if you want to prioritize your quality of life first by having a strong mobile body, those are the people that I would ask to come in. Like if you want to learn to move better, if you don't take yourself too seriously, but you're invested in your fitness, because play and exploration is a big part of what we do. So if you want to have fun and get stronger and move better along the way, and that's your first priority, those would be the people I'd say come
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've noticed from a lot of your videos and everything, everybody's kind of laughing and while they're working out, but like, a
Yeah.
lot of the cartwheels and all that stuff, and I'm
Yeah.
kind of thinking to myself like, crap, I don't think I can do a cartwheel right now. So
Everyone says that until they do. I could teach anyone to do a cartwheel.
okay, all right, all right. Um, yeah, and I think a lot of those movements that you teach are they're weird, but they're fun, and I think
Sure.
what people love is improving, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
And you're going to be able to give them these improvements in these strange movements. But I think what many people overlook is there's a large carryover, right? Like, so if you can improve some sort of balance crawling movement, you may not even realize it until you're just like, huh, you know, I don't, I can do certain things now, that I couldn't do before.
Oh, dude, absolutely. Like if there's something I try to give people, it's like like the biggest bang for their buck are like free gains. Like if there's something they can practice that's going to unlock a bunch of other stuff for them, like a particular movement that's going to give them free gains and other movements that they don't
Yeah,
necessarily have to
that's a good way of
practice,
putting it.
it's good shit, man. Like I remember when I was like really consistent with GMB and the Edo Portal stuff, I didn't do CrossFit for like a year. And I went back to my old CrossFit box to do the open and I crushed it. Like after a little bit of practice, my Olympic lifts were on point, and I think
Yeah.
like in the open gym competition, I finished like top 3 in the gym, and I
Mhm.
hadn't even like touched a barbell really in a year because all that stuff I was practicing was teaching me body awareness. I was working those strength
Mhm.
patterns, those ranges, that coordination, the dynamic movement, just in a different system, and it carried over really well when I went back to doing CrossFit. So
Yeah, and it's a little bit kind of that train smarter, not harder, right?
yeah,
Like you improved all the other aspects of your health, and it just only increased your lifting despite being gone for a year, which I
yeah,
think incredible.
exactly. And when I went back to it, it was like that much better. I had a better understanding of my body and I was enjoying it a lot more because I was doing it well and I wasn't breaking myself down. So, yeah, it's like when we apply it to like our students in our gym, we definitely throw some weird shit in there. There's a foundation, there's like a structure to what we do. And like amidst that, there is some novelty. But for the most part, it's like we want to build that foundation while still exposing people to novelty and showing them that there can be carryover through these from these explorative movements, like crawling around on the ground and like hanging and brachiating and like rolling. It provides a lot of benefit and body awareness development that carries over when you take it back to basic lifts.
Well, and I think there's a lot to be said for novelty and play and just what that can do for your brain and
Sure, dude. Yeah.
how it changes your movements. And plus, it's it's fun. It's fun in a weird way, but it's you want to be while you do want to get a good workout, like it's always nice to go to the gym and have fun, right? Like
Absolutely, dude.
it
Yeah, we
makes
try to
it
have
it makes a hard
something like
workout
that.
that much easier. Or so,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I think that's really cool. Well, tell me about your classes. So you've told us about GenFit and who it's for, what the genesis. Just because I know you've got a couple different classes. Why don't you tell us like who those are perfect for? What's the difference?
Yeah, we've whittled it down actually. What we're trying to do, we went from having like strength classes, conditioning, mobility, and it was all kind of like separated. So we still have a mobility class on the schedule, but for the most part, our classes are a strength and conditioning model with mobility built in. So you get a blend of everything within the hour that you're with us. So there's a general group warm up that typically has some strength cardio, targeted like some targeted stretching. There's a specific warm up for the movements that we'll cover that day, usually supersets of strength and then some conditioning mixed in. So it's a really well-rounded experience. You're going to be getting, strength and flexibility, balance, some conditioning in there. Like an hour with us is a pretty well-rounded experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so are all of those kind of interwoven within the hour, or is the first 15 minutes you work on mobility, the next you work on strengths, the next you work on conditioning? How does it work?
Sometimes it's layered like a structure, like, hey guys, we're going to get warmed up, we're going to do our mobility at the front of the class, like at the beginning of the class, and then we're just going to focus on this particular
Mhm.
lift. Sometimes it'll be mixed in throughout. Sometimes the exercises themselves are training mobility. Like anytime we do
Gotcha.
crawling animal patterns on the ground, you're training strength, flexibility, and motor control. So we might have like a workout where it'll be partnered. One partner might be doing like kettlebell swings and the other partner might be doing a ground pattern that's taking them through like twisting and squatting ranges, and that is mobility in motion. So that would be an example of how it's like mixed in while the class is actually going.
I like the mobility
Yeah.
in motion. You
Yeah.
should do
It's
that.
all well and good to like sit there and stretch. It has its place and I love it. Intentional work on your end ranges, like your joint end ranges, is super important, but you got to take the car out and drive it every now and then. If you just work on it in the shop and like keep honing it, you never take it out on the road, you don't keep that range. So it's super important that we do that intentional work, but also tell our students to go apply it in these like moving patterns so they retain the range that they're earning.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. We always say gain the range before you train the range. And then
Yeah. Hmm.
so because you're right, it doesn't do you any good if you don't have it. But and it also doesn't do you any good if you don't use it because
Yeah, dude.
it just tightens right back up and you start
Yep.
from square one again.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, all right, cool. Well, what else would you like to talk about? Tell our listeners.
Oh, geez. I don't know, man. This is your podcast, man. What do you want to talk about? We can talk about anything.
There's
Uh,
a lot of pressure.
no, no, it's like I don't mean to turn. I mean, like, no, this is cool to just like show up and like shoot the shit, man. Like, I think this is the second time I've been a podcast guest, so it's just enjoyable to jam with someone who I share the same values with. Talk about my gym and like my origin story a little bit. Don't really get to tell the origin story too much.
Well, and I think they're important because if
Yeah,
people know why you do what you do,
yeah,
you know, so
absolutely, man.
hard
Like,
for
and that's a good thing to like to talk about. Like, I'm all the stuff that I'm doing to try and better the client experience, the student experience is all shit that I've been through. It's as a result of like mistakes that I've made, bad coaches that I've had, poor experience that I've had. I'm taking all that shit, all the mistakes I've made and all the poor experience I've been through to try and put together a much more positive and coherent fitness experience for the people that I'm in service to. So that's a big motivation for me. I never stop learning. I'm always thinking, how can I make this better? How can I provide a better experience for, the people that I'm taking care of, that I'm training? So that's a big motivator for me. Like a lot of my motivation comes from my own stuff that I've had trouble with.
Yeah, and for you listeners out there, Ryan's not just saying that. The first time I met him, he kind of walked me through some of his back end systems and some of the stuff that he's trying to do, and it's pretty unbelievable. I was blown away, and so I just can't wait till you get some of that in play and start getting that to your gym. Not to, no, I'm not going to break any secrets or anything,
Oh,
but
you're fine.
everything that you're doing behind the scenes is going to be impressive, to say the least.
No,
So
I appreciate that, man. And it's fun. It's like one of those long labors of love. I'm just kind of plugging away, just kind of doing this and like every now and then popping my head up. And it's like a lot of work right now. And then hopefully I'll be like, oh man, it's ready. And it's like, it's going and I'm in the middle of it,
yeah, it'll
Yeah.
pay off, and all your clients will definitely appreciate it as well. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't have anything else. Welcome, or sorry, cut that part.
Welcome
All
to
right.
the end of the
Yes. Yeah.
podcast.
Exactly. All right. So thank you, Ryan, for joining us, and all of you out there, check out GenFit and what Ryan can bring to you. All right.
Cool.
Thanks.
Thanks, dude.
All right.